Alright guys, well we just got back from that absolute shit show, Vegas Golden Knights. Not over yet, but you know,
Might as well be.
might as well just call it a series after tonight's game. Well I'll give the choice here to Matt. Matt, what would you like to get in first time? We got, UNLV retaining the majority of its young core. You have the Golden Knights, and you have the national championship review. And unfortunately, Michigan State did not make it, but Virginia did, and they won the whole thing. So, Matt, you get to pick which one we get into first here.
Just, I guess, get the misery over. And,
The Golden Knights?
Yeah.
You sure you want to save that for last, just in case, they come back and...
Sure, come on. We watched the game.
All right, well, guess Matt's lost all hope.
Pretty painfully.
Well, game one of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the San Jose Sharks. Vegas, the 3 seed, San Jose, the 2 seed. Vegas played really aggressive in the first period. They're only down 1-0. I mean, the only goal they got was a deflection off one of San Jose's defensemen's face. Really, the only, it seemed like a lucky goal. Vegas had 24, 25 hits, I believe, in the first period alone. So Vegas was playing really aggressive. It seemed like this was going to be a low-scoring affair, and it was going to be like a 2-1 game. And even if the Knights lost, I would have been pleased with that because they were playing aggressive. And then the second period came around, and it was just completely different. San Jose comes out, scores 3 goals. Vegas finally got a goal with Mark Stone. It was a really nice setup play. Just seemed like San Jose was getting really easy goals, as it kind of how it was in last year's playoff series. And you kind of come to think of it, is Fleury becoming a liability at this point? He's older. He's running through an 82-game season, and he gets the playoffs, and he's not young anymore. He's 34 years old. So, that's another question that has to be raised. But, Matt, what does Vegas have to do? They're going to be down 1-0 tonight, likely a blowout game unless things change in that third period. What does Vegas have to do to get themselves back in the series and to advance to the second round to play the likely opponent, Calgary Flames?
It's been the story all season with them is they got to clean up the defense. I do get that, there are some goals that I will say probably Fleury could have did a better job of defending, but if you look at it, a lot of those times it's also the defense putting Fleury in a vulnerable situation where maybe he wasn't even expecting it, or it's supposed to be just a routine play, and they turn the puck over, and all of a sudden now it's an odd man rush coming at Fleury. I mean, not very many goalies are going to be able to stop that consistently, at least. So, the defense just looked terrific tonight. It's looked terrific all season, and it's been one of my big concerns with this team is we don't play good enough defense. I figured that these past few games before the playoffs, when we played flat, played almost like disinterested, that was a growing concern, and people were saying, no, they're just, kind of like stalling here before the playoffs. I said, I wouldn't be so sure about that, because you always want to go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum, and they had absolutely none of it. Just getting whacked by Arizona, who I don't believe made the playoffs at home.
What was that, 4-1?
Yeah, that was a whack fest. And then I think going on the road and getting whacked by the Kings, another team that's not in the playoffs. So
A lottery team.
And it's funny because my original prediction stood at Knights in, I believe, I said Knights in 5. Pretty sure that's what I went with, was Knights in 5. It was either them in 5 or them in 6, but Knights don't clean it up, Joe. It's going to be Sharks in 4.
Sharks in 4. Oof, a sweep. Yeah, not a very, it's only game 1, so it's obviously there's time to clean it up, and it's not over yet. It's not going to be decided after one game. But, a long way to go from tonight's game if they're going to continue playing like that. I think this next game's crucial, and they need to get the next 2 at home. Very unlikely, but, at least not the series up at 2 apiece. If Fleury continues to allow 4, 5, 6 goals a game, do you think they throw in Subban?
You got nothing to lose at this point. I get it that Fleury's a future Hall of Famer. That's not in question. But I mean, when we're talking about this season in particular,
Like Carmelo Anthony.
If this continues, I mean, I say you have nothing to lose but to put Tri Subban. Worst case, I mean, you can't get any worse. I would think so. You give Subban a try. Hey, maybe he stops a few more goals than Fleury does, and keeps the Knights in games at least a little bit longer. Because the vibe we got after tonight's game was after the second period, this game was pretty much toast, and that's just, we can't have that. And I get it that Fleury is coming off a lower body injury, reportedly. He missed, I think, like 6 or 7 games. He missed a pretty extensive period of time. Coming back, looked really rusty in those last 2 regular season games. And I thought, okay, maybe he's got the rust off now. Tonight he gets back on track, and we get back in the swing of it. And he looked shaky. He looked unorganized tonight. Like it almost looked like this was one of his very first NHL games. Like, he just looked completely lost, as did the rest of the team. So, I mean, like Joe said, this is a series. Thank goodness it's not one game. But they need to, if the Knights want to, I guess, get any control back in the series, they're going to have to step it up Friday night and tie the series at 1, going back home.
Yeah, I think if Fleury continues, kind of agree to Matt on this right here. If Fleury continues to allow 4 or 5, 6 goals a game, I think they got nothing better to lose than throw Subban in up there.
Your season's on the line.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the only other option. But Knights blow one tonight. Hopefully they can bounce back. I mean, I don't know. I'm not so sure on it at this point, but now you want to go into the UNLV or National Championship review?
Ooh, 2 really good events going on. That's actually a pretty good, tough choice.
You gotta pick here, Matt. Spotlight's on you.
You know what? Let's do that. We'll save UNLV for last because it's a really good story.
All right. Well, for those who don't know, me and Matt wanted Virginia and Michigan State. Michigan State couldn't get it done.
We were half right.
We got Virginia. Texas Tech, Virginia on Monday night in Minneapolis. Minnesota, all right?
That state.
Minnesota, the state where the Vikings play.
That's right.
And the Timberwolves. National Championship game, U.S. Bank Stadium, where the Vikings play. Looked like it was going to be a defensive game from the first 10 minutes of it. Pretty low scoring. It was like 11-6. Then offensively, teams finally started to get going. Down to the wire, went into overtime. DeAndre Hunter made clutch shots, made clutch plays, was great defensively. Should have won the MVP or most valuable player, but it went to Kyle Guy because he made those free throws against Auburn. But, Virginia ended up winning in overtime, 85-77. Screw you, Chris Beard. My UNLV fans know why. We're not going to get into that because that's a whole other subject. But, Matt, Virginia's the national champions. There's not much to talk about. It was a good game. Let's get into some speculation here, and then we'll kind of go back into the game. Do you think Chris Beard, I mean, he did say Texas Tech was his dream job. That's why he did leave UNLV after 11 days or whatever. Do you think Chris Beard is going to get a call or do you think he's at least getting eyed right now by big Power 5 schools, such as maybe Duke? Coach K could be retiring very soon, or other big Power 5 schools that coaches just aren't getting the job done. Do you think Chris Beard's days at Texas Tech could be limited? It could be just next year and he's done, or it even could be within the next week and he's out.
No, and I say that because it kind of goes back to a full circle of how college sports and NCAA works. Your team wins, it generates more money for the school, which in turn allows the school to pay the coach more money. So, with that being said, I think Texas Tech is going to put a massive offer on the table. Like, almost one that Chris Beard can't turn down. Because they know, hey, we went to overtime with Virginia. That just shows you how close we came to actually winning the whole thing. So I think Chris Beard's actually a little more motivated now to try and make another run. Like Virginia was this year. They were on what I called their revenge tour. in the tournament. Obviously, getting knocked out last year in the first round, they were back to prove that they are Virginia, and it showed. So I think next year, barring that Chris Beard can bring in a decent recruiting class again, retain some of his core, at least a few of the core guys. I know some of them are probably leaving because of graduation, etc. But
declaring for the NBA draft.
Declaring, yeah, various reasons. But if he can keep one or two of those guys, bring in some other guys.
You got to get some 4-stars coming in.
I would say you'll probably be a decent spot for the guys in the transfer portal. They might be looking to Texas Tech to go to
beautiful Lubbock, Texas.
That's people. Might hate on the location, but you got to remember.
Yeah.
Look at Duke and their location. They're in like the back roads of North Carolina, pretty much. But hey, they win. They're going to be on national TV. So
got the world-class facilities. I still think Chris Beard is going to get lured away by Power 5. I'm sure. I bet you when Coach Carrick retires, Duke's going to be like, Chrissy.
I wouldn't doubt that he's going to get a call. I'm not putting. I just don't know.
But like Chris Beard, I get that Texas Tech, for whatever fucking reason, is his dream job out of all the schools.
But I also know now it's Chris Beard, and he's a pretty big snake. I could see him doing.
Yeah, Duke's gonna be like, "What are they giving you right now?" He's like, "Oh, $7.1 million," and Duke's gonna laugh on the phone. They'll be like, "We'll give you 10 for 7 years," and then he'll be like,
And that's not even the most offer.
He's like, Duke's my dream job now. This is my dream job.
And I'm sure he's gonna sign some contract with Texas Tech right before and.
Oh yeah, and then 19 days later leave. Fucking asshole. But let's get back into the game. DeAndre Hunter, man, this kid is a future NBA superstar.
That was an unbelievable game.
Kid, monster threes. In the clutch threes, and he got that big steal when I think it was 77-81. They were coming down. He was able to hit it off of their point guard's knee, I believe. He was making big plays. He lived for that moment. He was incredible in the NCAA tournament. He won ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and ACC is probably the toughest or second toughest conference in basketball, right up there with the Big 12 and Big 10. DeAndre Hunter seems to me like the best player in this draft class. He can play 2 to the 4, big body, 6'7", 6'8", can shoot from 3, can get in the post, can rebound, can steal, can block. He's very versatile. It's, to me, when I watch him play, I get a Kawhi Leonard vibe when I watch him play. That would be my comparison. Excuse the voice crack there, but I get a Kawhi Leonard vibe when I watch him play, and I think he has the potential to be the number one player in this draft class. Saw some interesting things in his comment section today. One player on the team, probably as a joke, was like, "Are you staying another year?" And DeAndre Hunter says, "I want to go back to back," was his response. I don't know what that means. I really doubt he stays, considering he could literally just make $15 million off getting his name called for the NBA draft. Wouldn't make much sense, but you never know. Maybe he wants to stay and work on his game and get a lot better. But, do you think DeAndre Hunter, after that game, is the best player in college basketball? Or at least top 5?
I'd give him top 5 for sure.
Carson Edwards was probably...
Carson Edwards was good. He'll be a top 5 pick.
I don't think he'll be a top 5 pick.
I don't know. He's a good scorer.
He's like a late 20s.
I don't know. I can't see him falling out of top 10. I'm sure the Duke...
He's a senior, junior. He's a junior, though. He's undersized. Taking all these components, He's what scouts are looking at. They're 5'11", or 6 foot, 180-pound guard. Can make a couple threes. He's a junior. He's not as young as the other guys. He's not as tall. He's not as heavy. But you got to weigh out all the factors, and I think he falls to 15 to 30.
I don't think so, because I tell you why. I could see somebody like the Lakers going after Carson Edwards. You think about it, he's a shooter. It's going to fit with LeBron. It's going to make LeBron happy. They're not going to go after somebody like Zion. They would be foolish to go after Zion because
they need a scorer.
That combo's not going to work.
They already have a Zion. His name's LeBron James.
Yeah, I would say any big man or somebody like that is not going to work. That's why Kevin Durant's probably not going to the Lakers. Giannis isn't interested. Kawhi Leonard has said
they know they're interested. They're not interested because the organization's a shit show.
They're not interested. They're not interested because Well, that and
Magic Johnson
yeah,
stepping down. But let's just stay on the NCAA.
But yeah,
I don't want to waste our time on fucking Magic Johnson here.
Oh, that's another good topic too. But
We'll do it at the end. If we got time, we'll do it at the end.
Okay. So, but yeah, I think I do like DeAndre Hunter. I do like his skill set. And I was telling Joe about this yesterday. The reason why Zion's going to be number one is because he's going to come in and he's going to sell tickets. Whatever organization picks him up in the lottery is going to say, we've got Zion, we can raise our ticket prices, people are going to be attracted to him, everybody knows who Zion is, and that, I mean, he's going to be a sell. And I could see him working out in the NBA if he fine-tunes a few things of his game. He could be the next LeBron. I could see that happening. Or at least, like, that greatness. Or even another great player.
Or being the face of the league, at least.
I could see him being the face of the league, no doubt. But I
think that'll be Giannis.
Oh, yeah, Giannis, I think, is for sure going to... It'll be between him and Kevin Durant. Those two are going to go back and forth with each other. But I do think that's why Zion's going to go number one. He's got more popularity. Remember, DeAndre Hunter didn't really catch the media's eye until the tournament started. Nobody was really talking.
He's not a flashy player.
Exactly.
He plays the game right. And
And then when Duke got knocked out, it forced the media to go cover DeAndre Hunter and bring his name into attention. I do think the Duke the Duke three, with Zion, Reddish, and Barrett will be in the top 10. I don't think any of those players fall out of the top 10.
No.
I would be pretty shocked. Carson Edwards, if the Lakers are in the top 10, like I said, I could see them snagging him. Ja Morant will for sure be top 10. He might even be top 5.
He's top. He's going 2.
I can say there's been some GMs that have actually really been interested in Ja Morant. So I think this game, obviously this championship game was a lot better than people anticipated. Remember, everybody was calling this a snooze fest. Worst game. It's
definitely was not.
Worst national.
It was one of the best national
worst national championship game. Going to be boring, and it just kind of goes to prove when you underhype a game, it tends to be a lot better than it is. Versus you overhype a game, it tends to not meet expectations.
77-85 overtime. And clutch threes exchanging.
And it also proves the underdogs usually don't work out that well in the championship games. They just never really do.
3 seed could be done.
They're great stories, and then they get to the national championship game. The favorite takes over.
It's literally the whole motto of the Final Four. The road ends here. So
yeah, the road ended a little bit short for Texas Tech.
But obviously, as much hate as we have for Chris Beard, incredible season. You can't deny that. He got into the national championship.
Should be at UNLV.
Should have been at UNLV. He won the Big 12 championship. It's really hurting, my chest right now to giving him credit. But, you gotta give credit where credit's due. Sadly, Virginia's national championships, though, so... but hell of a bounce-back story from Virginia. Went from, for those who don't know, for live under a rock, I should say, Last year, they became the first number 1 seed ever to lose to a 16 seed in the NCAA tournament. It was probably one of the greatest upsets in sports history. To this year, winning the national championship. Incredible bounce. They deserve a 30 for 30 ESPN thing. But we'll move on from that to another program in college basketball that's actually here in Vegas, the UNLV Running Rebels. Obviously TJ Otzelberger, the new head coach. A lot of players put their name in the transfer portal, but yesterday just seemed like
a lot of them were yanking them out.
A lot of them were pulling their names out. Amari Hardy, which was the team's second leading scorer, announced he was returning to the program. Bryce Hamilton, who probably had the potential to be the team's leading scorer, just was never received the minutes because, when you go in and score, you're out, buddy. It's the Marvin Menzies logic. Bryce Hamilton announced he was returning to the program. Nick Blair, who was huge for UNLV towards the end of the year last year, really never played at all. But he was inserted in the starting lineup due to injuries, and Nick Blair absolutely killed it. I believe he had like a 26-point game last year against New Mexico. When he started, I think he averaged about 10 points a game. Nick Blair announced he was returning to the program. Trey Woodbury announced he's returning to the program. Marvin Coleman is staying with the program, and Terrell Beck is expected to stay with the running Rebels. So what is that, 5? That ain't 5, I'm sorry.
5 or 6, yeah.
Hold on, let's go. We got Woodbury,
Coleman.
Hardy, Coleman, Beck, and Woodbury, Hamilton. So about 5 players announced that they were staying with the program. Also, according to some sources, that Mbake Jong, Chwana Chua, and Chekna Dembele are all expected to stay. Joel Chwambe and Shakir Houston. Houston's likely out the door. Joel Chwambe can go either way. If he does leave, it's going to be likely to the University of Connecticut, also known as UConn. Matt, he also had Caleb Grill today announced he was getting an offer from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and then you had the commitment from Jonah Antonio about a week ago. So Matt, how big, are these returnees for UNLV, and how, what should the expectation be next year with getting Hardy, getting Hamilton, getting Blair, getting Beck, and likely getting the rest of the young core, with the exception of Chwambe and Houston back?
I think it's going to be, I'm going to stick with my stance. I'm going to say it's going to be a winning season.
Better be.
It's looking more promising towards 20 wins. I was a little bit optimistic on the 20 wins originally. It's actually looking more realistic the more players are staying. I think if Tomway stays and Jenkins is eligible to play right away, that's another player from South Dakota State who is, I believe, currently applying for, I thought he was applying for immediate eligibility to play.
Likely won't get it.
Being a transfer.
Likely won't get it. But rumors are him to UNLV is a done deal.
Yeah, so if somehow, some way he can get approved for...
I'd rather have him out so you can have him for 2020, 2021. You also got to look into the future.
Yeah. I still think even without Jenkins, as long as we got even just Tomway back, who's a 50-50, as Joe said, we'll be at 20 wins. We might peak at 25. It depends on the scheduling and how we fare. Non-conference is really going to be a telling test of how close we're going to get to 25. I think we'll get a lot of those wins in conference because Nevada won't be that great. They did just hire Steve Alford as their new head coach, but I believe they've got 9 or 10 players now that have either graduated or put their name in the transfer portal, and it doesn't seem like a promising turnaround right now for Nevada. I don't believe they're going to be that as good, and they'll probably be worse than UNLV.
Way worse.
Yeah, Reno's going to be a lot worse than the Rebels next year, and I think just if the one concern, like I said, when TJ got hired was, can he bring somebody in that's going to preach defense, whether via be assistant coach, maybe he adopts it in his own system, whatever it may be. There's no problem with the offense, but if we can get somebody in that can preach defense and make these guys a lot more disciplined than they probably would be on defense.
I think the way he wants to do it is, you got guys like Hardy and Hamilton. They want to push the ball and run a high, paced offense. And then when it comes to defense, their opponents that they're playing defense, they're just going to be so worn out, and they're not going to be able to keep up with, if he's high, fast paced, that, they're just kind of going to, turn to, the opponents being, tired or having fatigue, and UNLV's fast paced. I think that's kind of what he wants to do, because due to his assistants, Lon Kruger had a solid defense here. He brought in Kevin Kruger. He brought in the guy from Indiana, and then they're bringing in an assistant from Utah State. None of those other schools have really had a reputation for defense. The Utah Utes have somewhat had a reputation, under their head coach, who seems like he's been there forever. They've kind of had an aggressive defense. So he's trying to kind of collect it together. But I think, you got to have Mbake John back. You at least need to have a shot blocker. And I think he's going to more count on that, fast-paced offense, just to kind of tire teams out.
Yeah, that's always... that goes either way. Some teams are conditioned to go up and down, which in that case, you're going to need to lean more on the defense to make stops. But there are going to be those teams that like to slow it down, and they're not used to going up and down for 40
Especially
minutes.
they play Marvin Menzies.
Yeah, they got a water break every time they went up and down the court. It was
Run 20 seconds off the shot clock and jack up one.
right. So that's the only thing. If defense can even, I'm going to say if they can at least be half decent, to where they can allow the offense to build a gap, build a lead, then they'll be okay. I'm not expecting greatness, but I am expecting, half decent defense. They do that, I think this, and like I said, Mbake comes back. Let's say we get Tom Way too to come back. 25 wins, I don't think is necessarily out of the question. I think 20 wins should be an expectation. 25, depending on the schedule, could very well be, and that might push the Rebels over the border there to get into the NCAA tournament if they can get some big wins on the resume.
Yeah, it could be a very promising year now that they're getting these young guys back. And I think we do have a little time here, so we're going to close it out here with Magic Johnson stepping down yesterday as the Lakers' president of basketball operations. And he says, he wants to do it because all the rules that come with in the responsibility and the time.
He just didn't want to fire Luke Walton. Come on, Joe.
I don't think it was that. And how he was afraid to tell Jeannie Buss. I just think there is something shitty going on behind closed doors with this. This is just a fishy organization. I think it was that, and I think Magic Johnson knew this free agency he wasn't going to be able to land KD, Kyrie, Kawhi, AD. He knew he wasn't going to get any of these guys, and I feel like he's just like, the fans are going to be disappointed and pissed at me. I don't want to have the responsibility of throwing a fucking team together like I had to do this year. He's like, I'm going to get out of here as soon as I can. And Jeannie Buss was like, you motherfucker. We were having meetings and, trying to discuss the future of this franchise, and you never once said a fucking word. And she came out and made her little bullshit statements. Excuse my language, but came out and made her little statement saying, oh, thank you, Magic. I understand you. Damn well behind closed doors. She was like, you mother effer. We were having meetings, and you never showed one indication or never even hinted or even told me that you wanted to leave, and now you want to leave. Magic knows he can't get these guys. Magic knows they will not get these guys. And I think that's what really happened. But, I think it's just a big cover-up, and the truth will come out.
Yeah, I definitely believe that Magic knew that his job was going to come down to this summer. What he did this summer, who he got on the roster. And, we said it before, Kyrie said, no, Bron, I don't want to play with you. Pelicans have said, you don't have very many assets, Lakers. We're not going to deal Anthony Davis to you. Kawhi said, nah, bro, if I'm going to play in LA, I'm going to go play with the Clippers.
They should have it together.
Kevin Durant, he's either going to be the Clippers or the Knicks. Who else did they say they were going to get? Damian Lillard. Sounds like Portland's more likely to get him than the Lakers. Giannis isn't going anywhere, so we're running out of superstars here in the league. You whiffed on Paul George last year.
Blew that.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be your guarantee. That was the guarantee signing. Was definitely going to be Paul George.
He stayed with the ball dominant and sometimes pretty selfish Russell Westbrook over LeBron James.
That says something.
Come on, Patrick. You got to realize that at some point. Oh, and you also told us he's getting you guys are getting Boogie Cousins. Boogie's probably going to either stay with the Warriors
or go somewhere else. Like Mavericks or something. But, complete shit show in Los Angeles right now. And sounds fishy going on. But, to close up here, appreciate your support. Appreciate you guys watching another video. Our views have definitely gone up since moving on from the podcast and going to more of a visual effect. So, really appreciate your support. Matt?
Thank you guys for watching. Obviously, let's get our views up. Keep promoting. And
show it to your dog, like Matt says.
Show it to your dog. Show it to your convicted felon. Show it to your mailman. Show it to the guy that bags your groceries. I don't care who you show it to. Just
show it to someone.
Share it.
Show it to the wall.
Maybe if that counts.
If you're insane, we don't judge.
I would say share it. And again, thank you for the support. Hope the Knights get it back on track. Stay tuned. More content to come.
Yes, sir.